You don't need to be anything to be truly amazing. So I had, the abusive father, I had a learning disability, had a severe stutter. I suffered from toxic stress. I had a whole bunch of white blotches all over my skin as a young kid. On top of the stuttering, on top of the, hair falling out of my head as a young kid. So I tried to hide in class, being, not only the only black kid in my class, but being, to me, I wasn't the smartest kid in class. I was the dumbest kid in my mind. So I was already insecure from my dad beating me in Buffalo. We moved to the small town of Brazil, Indiana. And my mom was working 3 jobs at the time. We lived in a government subsidized apartment. It cost her $7 a month. So she was grinding, trying to make ends meet, right? Single mother. I copied all the way to my junior year in high school, just cheated on all these tests. And then I wanted to join the military. So I'm like, I want to join the military. I need to get out of this small town, tired of being called the N-word, tired of being the only, just tired of not fitting in. So one incident that happened to me is I came out of school and I had my brand new 1982 citation. And I came out and they said, N-word, we're going to kill you. Spray paint all over it. My out was going to the military. So when I said, I'm going to join the military, I went to the recruiter and he said, hey, you can take an ASVAB test. And I heard test, I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So a letter came in the mail a week after I failed my second ASVAB test. And it said pretty much, your son's going to flunk out of school. My mom was like, hey, you know what, you're going to flunk out. That was her only advice to me because she was so stressed out from her personal life. And that's when I invented the accountability mirror. The accountability mirror was, my life, I blamed everybody. And a lot of people had a lot to do with my failures, but it's now mine to own. I had to start owning this myself because, my father wasn't coming back. The people that called me names weren't coming back. Nothing was coming back to save me. So I realized I had to save myself. Right. And that's when I invented the accountability mirror where I started putting down, I'm not smart. And I put a sticky note on the accountability mirror. I'm this, I'm that. And my mirror was full of sticky notes. And every day I went through and I tried to solve these problems. And the biggest problem it was trying to fit in. I was trying to fit in. I was blaming other people. I wasn't taking accountability for my own actions. I was doing all these things wrong. And as a 17-year-old trying to teach yourself this, it was difficult. And it snowballed from there, but I ended up passing that test, passed the ASVAB test. I was in the Air Force for about 4 years. And my big thing was I wanted to be Air Force pararescueman, some of the best medics on the planet Earth. As I got in the program, I started realizing that they had this thing called water confidence. Basically, they make you very uncomfortable underwater. So I realized at that point in time that I hated being underwater. I hated holding my breath. For 6 weeks, I hung in the program. I didn't sleep at all for fear of going back to the pool, for fear of drowning in my head. About 6 weeks in, we had this physical, and they realized I have sickle cell trait. Back in the day, I used to lie about whatever made me feel insecure. On my official paperwork out of pararescue training, it has David Goggins left on a medical. But the truth of the matter is, I left because I quit. I had to find a different job in the Air Force. In 4 years being in the Air Force, I gained 125 pounds. I get out of the Air Force and I'm working for a job spraying for cockroaches. 40 restaurants I was in charge of. I go in at nighttime and I spray. I would stop at Steak and Shake, get a large chocolate milkshake. I would go across the street to 7-Eleven, get a box of mini donuts. On the way home, I'll be popping donuts like Tic Tacs. I would get home, turn the TV on. This is my routine. Start taking a shower and listen to the TV as I'm showering. This particular day, I started hearing Navy SEALs, toughest training. And I was hearing it cut out between the water hitting my ears. So I came out of the shower, but it was Navy SEAL class, Bud's class, going through training. And it was nothing but water. And they're going through Hell Week and they're freezing and people are quitting left and right. And I sat down at 297 pounds and I'm watching these amazing men going through training. At the end of the show, this commanding officer gives a speech. He says, we live in a society where mediocrity is often rewarded. These 22 men detest mediocrity. And I felt like, man, I have to now really start to overcome my fears because I felt so small. Every day I had this haunting voice in my head saying, you're nothing, you're nothing. And I had to start conquering myself. And so to overcome all this, my bright idea was to try to become the one thing I was afraid of, a Navy SEAL. That day, I started calling recruiters up. And for 2 weeks, this happened. This recruiter laughed at me. That recruiter laughed at me. This recruiter said, there's no way. And every time I heard a no, I said, no, it's not meant to be. So I get back in my car and start driving back to work. And after I be at work for a few hours, man, I said, man, you can't give up that easy. So finally I said, this is my last call I'm going to make. He was real busy. He said, just come on in. People don't walk in the office trying to be a Navy SEAL weighing 297 pounds. You walk in looking the way I look now. So he brought me back to a scale. And I remember looking in front of me was a height weight chart. For me, I'm 6'1". I could only weigh 191. I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. So I went on this crazy routine and eating hardly nothing. And in less than 3 months, I lost 106 pounds. I'm the only person in Navy SEAL history to be in 3 Hell Weeks in 1 year. The Hell Week is 130 hours of continuous training. I got into Hell Week, got double pneumonia, stress fractures, got rolled back to day 1, week 1. I broke my kneecap. So I reported back to day 1 of Navy SEAL training broken. And we had a guy die in my 3rd Hell Week. So Hell Week ended about 30 hours early. I have severe stress fractures. My knee is now blown up again. I knew I wasn't gonna get a chance to go back through Hell Week again. I made a decision to myself, there's no more quitting. So that's when I went and got duct tape. For the first 45 minutes, the duct tape hurt like hell. But after 45 minutes, my legs would go numb. Once stuff goes numb, you can't feel it. So that's how I went through the rest of 22 more weeks of Navy SEAL training. I was already at rock bottom my whole life. So when you know how rock bottom feels, you don't mind sleeping in the sewer. So at that point, once I realized that I already experienced the bottom, I no longer had fear of failure. But this took a long time. It's one like I woke up, oh, eureka, I got it. And I started realizing that the mind is the most powerful weapon that we have. Once I was able to quiet my mind and realize that I was really not cursed, but blessed to have so many tools that I never saw as tools. While growing up, so much hardship. Only thing that can happen for me now is this victory. I chose these hard things to do because I wanted to learn how to callous my mind. Like the pull-up record, I did 4,030 pull-ups. But in preparation for that pull-up record, I did 67,000 pull-ups in 9 months. And what happens is your hands become callous. Calloused hands protect you from hurting yourself on the pull-up bar. Right. So I realized, you know what? I have to learn to start callousing my brain. And I have a chapter in my book called Armored Mind. And Armored Mind it speaks of how we have to do things that suck every day, right, because that's how you start to strengthen your mind. So I said, you know what? Let me go on Google. And I Googled the 10 hardest events in the world. And what came up, number 1, was this race called Badwater 135. It's a 135-mile race through Death Valley in the summertime. So 130 degrees, 135 miles. I said, that's what I'm going to do. I figured it had to be a stage race, you know, like a 10-day race, something like that. No, it wasn't. It was a 1-day race. And so I called the race director up and said, hey, man, I'm David Goggins. Chris Kosman goes, yeah, that's great. I go, I want to do this race to raise money for a foundation. He goes, have you ever run 100 miles? I said, in 1 calendar year or what? He goes, yeah, to get in the Badwater, you got to run 100 miles in 24 hours or less to qualify. I said, you can't do 100 miles in 24 hours. I go, that's impossible. He goes, look, only way you can get in my race is to qualify. This is in November on a Wednesday. There's only 2 more races I can do to qualify for the Badwater. And one happens to be on Saturday. I call him on a Wednesday. This race is on a Saturday. It's called a San Diego 1 Day. You have a 1-mile track. You run around 1-mile track for 24 hours to see how many miles you can get. And I get all my gear. I get a blue lawn chair, Mileplex, and Ritz crackers. That's all I have for a 100-mile race. So I get my little seat set up. You know, I'm going to see her every mile. I get some Mileplex and Ritz cracker. I keep on running. At mile 50, I start to feel the bones in my feet start to break. And at mile 70, I haven't gone to the bathroom not one time. And this is when I realized that a human being, you know, through all my 3 Hell Weeks, my Ranger School, my Air Force training, my childhood, everything I've done in my life, it has been very painful, very painful. This was the worst pain I've ever experienced in my entire life. I'm making humor of it, but this is what really made me realize that if you can shut all the noise out in your head and just all the crap that people are giving you, and you can focus on the task at hand and what you want to do, you honestly can do anything. I became very obsessed with finding out more because I'm like, I came from this horrible human being in my mind to this person who's now amongst uncommon men. And I wanted to then become the most uncommon of uncommon men because of where I came from. It's almost like a live autopsy on myself. I'm like, wow, you don't need to be anything to be truly amazing.
You want to begin to get all the toxic people out of your life.
The people you hang around with will suck the fucking life out of you.
Energy drainers, get them out of your life.
You got to hang out with the people who you want to be like the most.
Yeah, people will definitely drag you down.
They'll drag you down.
Take a look at the people that are around you. And if they're not on the side of what's good for you, then walk away.
It takes a lot of energy to reach your goal. It takes a lot of emotional, mental, and spiritual energy to reach your goal. And you can run faster with 100 who want to go than with one around your neck.
Your friends that you think are your homies right now are going to be the people that are likely going to pull you off course. And you know why? Because they're not on the same path that you're on. This is something that most people can never get over. And this is why most people are most people and why most people never achieve the things that they want to achieve.
You have to learn, what do you want in your life? We have so much influence coming at us that we are so lost. We don't know what we want to do because we don't spend enough time with ourselves. You have to learn to shut off a phone, shut off a computer, shut off a TV. And it's okay to sit in a room by yourself in a chair and just think about you, where I want to be, where do I see myself tomorrow, the next year from that. It takes a lot of self-discipline to be able to do that nowadays because you want to be so attached to everything. You want to be so caught up with the world. The world's moving so fast that you're trying to keep up to the point where you lose yourself in the world. So you have to take that time and go to that dark place in your mind and discover who you are.
What if it's your family? Do you still walk away from your family?
You do if it's necessary. There's lots of different ways of walking away. Sometimes someone's on an incorrigible path. There's just nothing you can do. So if you're training to be a lifeguard, one of the things that you're trained to do is to approach someone who's drowning and panicking. Mm. And the way you approach them is you put your foot out between you and them, and you push forward with your hands with your foot out. And you basically tell them if they're flailing about, say, look, I'm here to help, but you have to calm down. And then if they cling to you, like in panic, you push them away. You think, well, that's pretty damn cruel because what if they drown? It's like, yeah, what if you both drowned? That's like not helpful. You're there to rescue them. They take you down. You're both dead. It's like fail, right? So you say, look, quit panicking. I'll help you out, but I'm not drowning along with you.
You look to your left and you look to your right and you start to judge yourself off other people. Like if you're a female, well, she's skinny and she doesn't work out as hard as I do. And everything starts to corrupt your mind. You start to look around too much at other people and what they're doing. And that starts to corrupt your own dialogue. We are judging ourselves against too many fucking people. You have to judge yourself against yourself. And that's the one thing I started learning, man. This isn't a race against me and Rich Roll. This is a race against David Goggins and David Goggins alone. And once you can silence all that bullshit, all the outside interference and things that are attracting your mind to everything, you can then start to grow and realizing I'm stressed out for no reason. This is my own little race. This is my own timeline. And this is how I'm going to run it.
Sometimes, like surgery is brutal, right? It's brutal, but
we're going to cut you open and we're going to rip out part of your body or whatever.
Right, exactly, precisely. Only making friends with people who want the best for you. That's a brutal chapter. It's right, unfortunately.
If you're running a boat and you're trying to move forward as fast as possible, you cannot have anchors holding you back. You have to cut those lines. That's the reality, right? And you got to replace those lines and those anchors with propellers. People who are loyal to who it is you're trying to become. People who are going to hold you to a high standard. People who are going to push you to be better. And every single great human surrounds themselves with people like that. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, who they surround themselves with? Other great players. They surrounded themselves with one of the greatest coaches of all time, and Tim Grover, personal development discipline coach, who will call you on your shit no matter who the you are. That's who you want to be around. Those are the people you want to surround yourself with, not Tommy and Bobby and fucking Susie from the old neighborhood who aren't doing a motherfucking thing except drinking beers at 2:00 on a fucking Saturday, watching football every fucking week, while you're trying to take advantage of the time and the opportunity you have to become better.
Do you think you could go the other way and maybe become a bit cold if you don't care what anyone thinks? Your fiance, your kids, they're not the people around. Do you not care what they think?
See, that's the thing about it. You have to have an understanding of what not caring means. If your fiance and your kids don't believe in you, you can't care what they think. That means you chose the wrong support staff. So that's why a lot of people don't understand one another. Your support staff has to be like, if I want to go out and do whatever it is, my support staff is my fiance. If she's like, you know what, I don't think that you should be doing that. Why? So I can be open-minded. So why are you saying this? But if she's saying it because of her, that's not the right thing. Because I need backing to do what I'm going to do. Open-mindedness. I need support. You got to be very clear thinking about all that stuff.
So there are two kinds of relationships. Sid Simon talks about this. Nourishing relationships and toxic relationships. Nourishing relationships are the relationships that inspire you. They motivate you. They bring the best out of you. Toxic relationships are relationships with people that always criticize you. All they can do is find fault. All they can do is just exploit your weaknesses. All they can do is remind you of the mistakes that you've made in the past. These people are bad for your health. Toxic people can run your blood pressure up. One apple can spoil a whole barrel. One negative energy drainer can spoil your whole life. I know people whose lives have been ruined because somebody wasn't good for them. See, there are some people that aren't good for you.
If you've got smart people around you and they're giving you good advice and you're not listening to it, can there become a point when you're just so blinkered sometimes that you don't listen to good advice from smart people?
You got to make sure they're smart. That's it. So that's why my circle is very small. So you don't want people in your corner that are like, oh, let me pat you on the back for whatever the fuck you do. I don't want people patting on the back because I woke up in the morning. No. So you don't want that. You want people who are honest with you, who are going to tell you what the fuck is honest. Honest and truthful people. So someone who's honest and truthful, who has lived and is accountable for their own personal life, that's who you want in your corner to say, hey, man, you know what? You're pretty fucking dumb for doing this, dude. Like, this is not smart. Or you're being a turd today. You're not getting after it. That's who you want in your corner. So you don't want a lot of people, hand-pick people to be in their corner who kiss their fucking ass.
They aren't good for you. You've got to get them out of your life. See, a lot of people put up with a lot of foolishness because they don't want to die by themselves. Here's what I believe. I believe in a one-to-a-box theory.
I said on my Instagram today, you ever notice that the people who are out there screaming the loudest about what you should and shouldn't believe, what you should and shouldn't do, how you should and shouldn't live, are the people with total disgusting dumpster fire of an existence on this planet? They're the loudest ones. They're the loudest ones. The loudest ones are the people that don't have fucking shit going for them. So what should you do? Because we can't eliminate those people from our lives. We got social media. It's real simple. Block the fuck out of them and delete their fucking existence from your brain. You don't have to listen to that shit. You don't owe them anything. You don't owe them a response. You don't owe them anything. But who you do owe things to are the people who contribute to you, the people who show up for you, the people who help you make a better life. Those are the people that deserve your energy. Those are the people that deserve the responses to the comments they make.
So when you have a messed up foundation, I started lying about everything. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be accepted in some society of life. I was like, man, this isn't the right way. I'm messed up here. I'm messed up here. I'm messed up everywhere. And so I realized the worst thing that happened to me is I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem. So I knew through working out and through learning, because it took a lot for me to learn also, I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that. And that's when my life started really changing for me, slowly but surely.
A lot of people think loyalty is just about knowing someone for a long time. But the problem that usually happens with this is that as you grow, as you become more, as you work harder, they start to actually hold you back. And this is very dangerous and they put energy on you that isn't productive to who you want to become, right? They judge you for not going out on the weekends. They want you to go party all the time. They want you to go out and do things that aren't conducive to who it is you're trying to become. And guys, I got to tell you, that's not loyalty.
So you got to look at the people in your life and find out what kind of person are you becoming because of that relationship. My mother used to say, birds of a feather flock together. You run around with losers, you will end up a loser.